Have you ever stopped to wonder what actually holds the internet together? I mean, really think about it. It's not magic, believe it or not. It's a fundamental building block called HTML. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain and show you how it's the invisible blueprint for every single web page you've ever visited. So let's start with a question. When you load a website, what is it that tells your browser where everything goes? How does it know to put the title up top, or to start a new paragraph, or to place an image right there? What is it that gives every web page its fundamental shape?
Well, the answer is an invisible blueprint. Think about it like building a house. You need a structural plan before you can even think about painting the walls or picking out furniture. Every single web page needs that exact same kind of plan before it can be styled or made interactive. Let's really lean into that analogy. So you're building a house. Long before you're thinking about paint colors or what kind of couch you want, you need that blueprint. That's what defines the essential structure, right? Where the walls go, where the doors are, how the rooms are all laid out. It is the absolute first, most critical step.
And that is the core idea right there. In the world of the internet, HTML is that blueprint. It doesn't care about colors. It doesn't care about fonts. Not at this stage anyway. Its one and only job is to provide the raw, naked structure for the content on the page, just like that house blueprint.
Okay, so we know it's a blueprint, but what does that name, HTML, actually stand for? Let's decode it, because each part of that acronym tells us a little piece of the story about what this language really does. All right, first up, the H and T. They stand for hypertext. And honestly, this is where the magic happens. This is what lets you click on a link and instantly jump from one page to another. It's that hyper part that connects all these separate documents together, creating the massive, interconnected web we all use every day. Next up, the M stands for markup. And this part is absolutely key. See, HTML uses these things called tags, which are really just little labels, to describe the content. It tells the browser, hey, this piece of text, that's a main heading, or this block of words over here, that's a paragraph. It's describing the purpose of the content, not what it should look like. And this brings us to a really crucial distinction that a lot of people mix up. HTML is a markup language. It is not a programming language. A programming language gives the computer instructions on what to do, calculate this number or run this animation. HTML doesn't do any of that. It simply describes the information that's already sitting there. And finally, we have the L for language. And it really is a language. It has a shared vocabulary and a set of rules that all browsers, and I mean all of them, have agreed to understand. And this is so important because it's the reason a website looks and works the way it's supposed to. Whether you're on Chrome or Firefox or Safari, it's our universal translator. So how does this look in practice? It's actually pretty simple. You take your content and you wrap it in an opening tag, like that P, and a closing tag. That whole little package is called an element. Now, sometimes elements need a bit more info, so we give them something called an attribute, like the source on an image tag, which tells the browser exactly which picture file it's supposed to show. But here's the thing, HTML doesn't work in isolation. It's really a team player. In fact, you could say it's the captain of a three-part team that creates everything you actually see and interact with in your browser, what we call the front end. So if HTML is our blueprint, laying out the raw structure, then CSS is the interior designer. It comes in and adds all the style, the colors, the fonts, the layout, all the visual flair. And then you have JavaScript. JavaScript is the electrical system. It's what brings the house to life with all the interactivity, like clickable buttons, pop-ups, and animations. Okay, but what about all the dynamic stuff, like your social media feed or the latest news headlines? That content has to come from somewhere, right? Well, that's the job of the backend. You can think of it as the brain of the website, living on a server somewhere far away. And the process, in a nutshell, is actually pretty straightforward. Your browser sends a request to a server asking for a page. The server's backend code then goes and fetches the latest data from a database. It plugs all that fresh data into an HTML template, and then boom, it sends that final complete HTML page right back to your browser to display. So, after all of that, what's the one single thing you should really walk away with? If you remember nothing else, what is the core identity of HTML? It's this: HTML is the skeleton of the web. It's indispensable. Without it, there is no structure. You just have a chaotic, unreadable jumble of text and images. Every single site you visit, from the simplest blog to the most complex web application, is built on top of this essential framework. So at the end of the day, HTML isn't just a bunch of code. It's the language we use to give structure to information itself. It's an incredibly powerful tool for organizing and communicating ideas. So now that you understand the blueprint, the only question left is, what will you build with it?